Okay, Cosmology of Change and Movement, Part 5. Let's try to summarize what we've seen so far and use a tool that I do not really like, but that proves oftentimes useful for remembering. And it's a tool used by amongst other, Edouard de Bono in his Cohort Thinking course. And the idea is to turn a complex field into specific skills that can be trained independently. So this is a very common principle of martial arts, of learning internal arts, breaking up a complex thing into small component parts that can be isolated and then brought back together and connected to recreate the whole. But if you can train in these small individual parts, you're able to develop small increments of all that you need to do the complex whole. So Edouard de Bono used in his Cohort Thinking course small acronyms depicting tiny activities or games, providing one specific thinking skill that could be developed independently. So the instances would be PMI. You take any subject and you consider plus the positive aspects, minus negative aspects, and interesting the interesting aspects. So we'll try to do the same for what we've seen so far. So right now we started from the main topic, which is the different functions of movement. And this would be summarized by the acronym RED with 1 or 2 Ds. RED goes for receiving, emitting, deflecting, changing the movement, and deforming or transforming, changing the form. Out of this main theme, that would be the center of a mind map, we started to explore another subject or another subcategory which would have as an acronym FOD: form, direction, density. So this is the entire conversation around concave shapes receiving, convex shape emitting, flat shapes distributing, and complex shapes is a mix of all the others. So now CCCP for shapes, subcategory of shapes. Out of that we will have something like the alphabet of shapes. I used in French something that I call placnost, Plach. It would have to change in English, so basically it goes for point, line, arc, circle, H, double circle, which is a figure eight shape, wave, spiral, and torque. So these are the linear forms with which we get started in the exploration of movement. As we saw with the story of the two villages linked together by the shortest possible road, you get a line. You want to make this road bigger, you get a wider and wider arc. You want to make it even bigger, you would. So if I kept to do the proper demonstration, I would have to link both sides of the screen, and you would see you'd get more and more of the string appearing on the screen, although the extremities of the screen do not move. So now later I would have to do something like this. First yin-yang shape, first wave, and I could do the harmonics of this wave if I was able to make them stick. So basically it would be ups, downs, and so on. We'd see something like this, and spreading. And then I would have to twist it more and more and more and more and more in ways that this string won't be able to take. And eventually make a double spiral, double twist, like same as though I was making rope, for instance. So I have something like this. So we saw that the shapes influence the amount of energy you can store over the same segment. So this goes for a point, line, arc, circle, so it's simple. 8 would be place, wave, spiral, torques. Place used would be the acronym. So this is a fairly important field in martial arts, since when you start in martial arts or any other thing, you start to move. At first you'll start to move in a line, straight line, then you curve a line, so you have all this curving of the steps in many martial arts that you use to sneak around the feet of the partner or opponent. Then you would have waving movements. So same for the footsteps, for the kicks, for reception of energy. You receive a blow at first by just making a straight line back. Then you combine a straight line back and a straight line down to bring back the energy into the ground. And then with more energy you would start to make a wave. So the wave would be I go back, down, front, back, down, front, back, down, front, in a wave-like pattern. It's very fast, so you wouldn't see it, but it's like arcing around a vertebrae, then on the other side, next vertebrae on the other side, backwards, down, forward, backwards, forward, and so on. Movements for the arm or anything would be a whipping movement. If I went slow, you'd see something like this. The next shape would be a spiraling movement, or a twisting movement, screwing movement. Screwing would be a straight line, straight movement combined with a spiral. The difference between the spiral and the torque is the torque is a double spiral. So it's spiral going in two directions. So it's as you can see, for storing information, the shape of DNA is a double spiral. But you can use this in all fields. You can use it, as mentioned, when you open something. You use it when you want to express water from a cloth. You could fold the cloth, making arcs. You could stretch the cloth, making line. Then you could fold it, making arcs. Then you could spiral it, like roll it. Rolling would not really be spiraling. Like first rolling would be the same as rotating. So all parts twist together. If one part twists, then the next, then the next, then the next, there we will have what we call spiral. If all parts turn at the same time, that's called rotation. I start with my fingers, then my wrist, then my elbow, then I get a spiral one way or the other. And the torque will be a spiral in one way, but the way to do it, the easiest way to do it, is you use one joint, going, say, one joint will go clockwise, the next joint must go counterclockwise. So it's difficult to show, mostly because I'm really bad at this. So when I twist my wrist like this, I twist my wrist like this, and I'll twist my arm the other way, or my elbow the other way. It's very commonly used for locks. You lock the arm very fast, much faster than if you had to do a complete spiral. And most of the time you lock it, and at the same time you stretch it towards the joint or away from the joint. And the same movements would apply when you reset bones or reset joints. You stretch, twist or double twist. Especially if you have to reset something that's been torqued or twisted, then you'll use the opposite complementary movement. So this is all the Plaknos concept. You use it in internal arts a lot, but you can use it in parkour and many other things. You can have small internal movements that are fractal, so you can do the same linear movements as a complete line, or I can do a small movement with the tip of the finger, then every phalanx, then the palm, then the wrist, then the forearm. I guess I'm showing nothing, but if I retract everything and then I sort of stretch each part independently, if you apply pressure, you'd feel, so see here, you see the finger stretching. Now if I stretch the palm, the wrist, the entire forearm, the elbow, more and more pressure would be applied, although the movement seems exactly the same. Same would go for any rotation, and same would go for any torque or any spiral. We say that we recruit more joints, in the same way we say in physical activity that we can recruit more muscle fibers. So this would be the first three concepts that we've seen: red, receive, emit, deflect, deform; third, form, direction, density; form, CCCP, concave, convex, complex, flat; and out of that point, line, arcs, circles, 8 waves, spirals, torque.